Now in Exodus 23, verses 20 through 23, the Bible talks about the angel of Yahweh that Yahweh commissioned. I won't read it because Michael pretty much quoted the text. Yahweh says, I'm going to send my angel before you. He says, provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. What we're dealing with here is the angel of Yahweh, the Shaliach of Yahweh. Not Yahweh himself, but an angel that has, we could say, power of attorney as it in regards to Yahweh the Father. Yahweh has delegated him with such authority that when he shows up, he is the agent of Yahweh, and people treat him as though Yahweh was on the scene. And this is the same thing with Yeshua the Messiah. When Yeshua shows up in the New Testament, he says, speaking of this principle of agency, he that receiveth not me, receiveth not him that sent me. He told his disciples the same thing. When he sent them out, he said, disciples, you go into these houses, whoever doesn't receive you doesn't receive me. Remember I gave the example of Matthew 25 where Yeshua talked about visiting people in prison and also feeding people that were hungry and clothing people that were naked. He said, you never did this for me. And he said people would tell him, well, when did we not do this for you? He said, well, when you didn't do it unto the least of these, you didn't do it unto me. That's that agency principle. The Jewish law of agency states that when an agent shows up, it's regarded as the actual person himself. And in this case, Yahweh invested so much authority in this angel, he even placed the Tetragrammaton, the divine name of God, upon this angel, that the angel could use this name and act in Yahweh's stead, in Yahweh's place. But it is not Yahweh. It's the angel of Yahweh. Notice Stephen in Acts chapter 7 agreed with this. He states in Acts 7 verses 30, 35, 38, and 53 the following, quote, and when 40 years were expired, there appeared to him in the wilderness of Mount Sinai an angel of the Lord in a flame of fire in the bush. This Moses whom they refused, saying, who made thee a ruler and a judge? The same did God send to be a ruler and a deliverer by the hand of the angel which appeared to him in the bush. This is he that was in the church in the wilderness with the angel which spake to him in the Mount Sinai, and with our fathers, who received the lively oracles to give unto us, who have received the law by the disposition of angels, and have not kept it. So Yahweh performs his works through his messengers, through his angels, or through his agent. Okay? Not that they are Yahweh de facto, but that they're Yahweh's representatives, vice regents. We could maybe say vice presidents. Okay? I don't believe that that was Yeshua speaking through that burning bush. Stephen believed in Acts 7 that it was the angel of Yahweh, representing Yahweh. And therefore it was Yahweh speaking through the burning bush. Remember last night when I dealt with Exodus 7, 17 through 20? Where Yahweh said, I'm going to strike the river with a rod in my hand. But then the next verse says, Aaron took his rod and struck the river. The principle of agency is much stronger in Hebraic terms than it is in 21st century terms, as Michael gave us the illustration of the president. In Hebrew agency, in the Hebraic understanding, the agent is regarded as the person himself. I want to quote here from the Encyclopedia of Jewish Religion on page 15. Quote, agent, Hebrew, shaliach. The main point of the Jewish law of agency is expressed in the dictum. A person's agent is regarded as the person himself. Then it quotes two passages from the Talmud. Therefore, any act committed by a duly appointed agent is regarded as having been committed by the principal, who therefore bears full responsibility for it with consequent complete absence of liability on the part of the agent. And this is what was taking place in a passage like, it's either Matthew 9 or Mark 9. I can't remember exactly right now. It's one of the two. But where Yeshua told this man, thy sins be forgiven thee. And the crowd marveled and said, who can forgive sins but God alone? But then the text goes on to explain that the people marveled because God had given power to men. And he said, I've done this so that you may know that the Son of Man has authority on earth to forgive sins. Yeshua forgave sins not because he was God or part of God in the sense that Michael is presenting in this discussion. But Yeshua forgave sins because God gave him the authority to forgive sins. Matthew 28:18, Yeshua says, all power has been what? Given to me. If something is given to you, it means that you've not always had it. Okay? So Yeshua, as the Son of Man, had the authority to forgive sins. And that was the point of the miracle there. And so the Hebrew or the Hebraic understanding of agency is extremely strong.